Hey, this is Gale Nelson, President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami, the host of The Game of Life, where everybody makes the team, but how you play is up to you. Welcome to The Game of Life. I'm your host, Gale Nelson, President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters. And when you hear a song like Rock You Like a Hurricane, it is a pleasure to have two-time national champion, Miami Hurricane player and two-time Super Bowl champion, Darrin Smith, and an alumni little brother in the studio. Darrin, brother, welcome to The Game of Life.
Gale, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, brother. I'm excited to be here. You know, this part of the season with the Super Bowl coming up soon.
I heard there's a game coming to town, brother.
So, you know, everybody's getting excited down here in South Florida, but, you know, I'm looking forward for the opportunity to reconnect with you and Big Brother and Big Sister, and you know, it all started here.
That's right.
And so I'm just looking forward to all that we're going to do together to continue our partnership.
Brother, it's real, it's personal, and I'm just thankful as we think about this time of the year, as we think about this holiday season, as we think about football season, food, family, football. That's a nice combination,
that's good
Darrin.
right there. I can't beat that right there. That's excellent right there.
But let's talk about it for the benefit of our audience, Darrin. You talk about where it all started, and you were a little brother in Big Brothers Big Sisters. I mean, obviously, the man you are today. That we'll talk about that as well. Mm-hmm. The husband, the father, the mentor to so many youth in the South Florida area. But let's trace it back to the beginning. Wow. So tell us your story, Darrin.
Well, growing up in at that time Liberty City, I was 3 years old when I lost my father.
Yes.
And I was the youngest of five. I have two older sisters and two older brothers. And my mom eventually moved us out of that area into the area that's now called Miami Gardens.
Okay.
And it was at that time where she ran into someone who mentioned to her it might be good to get your kids into Big Brothers Big Sisters, and so she definitely wanted to get her sons involved. And so my two older brothers had big brothers, and I saw the relationships that they were developing, and honestly, I was a little jealous. You know,
that's what little brothers do.
Yeah, what little brothers do. Plus, you know, I started getting involved with this little game called football. So I would, you know, go to the parks, and I would see other boys playing with their dads, and, you know, that jealousy part of it, like, you know, where's my dad? And, you know, I was 3, so I really, you know, when it happened, when my dad passed, so I really never really understood why he wasn't around.
Right.
And so eventually I got involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters, was super excited to finally meet my big brother. His name is Seymour Marksman. And Seymour has been such a big impact in my life. You know, the interesting thing, Gale, about Seymour, he's from the Caribbean. And so even at the time where I'm gung-ho all about football, you know, he could really care less about football. That just wasn't his thing. Now
they call football something else. Soccer,
but he'll watch cricket all day long. Oh, man, he loves cricket.
So cricket in the hood, that may be
absolutely. But another thing about him, he was very much into education.
Yes.
And so, you know, with him being in my life, he rubbed off a lot. He had a lot of impact, and his legacy really has gone on to what I am now. You know, my priorities right now are family, faith, but also education.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, even with my own children, you know, we make it a priority. Education is a priority, and you got to put in the work. I always, you know, teach my children what you get is what you put into it.
That's right.
And so we work hard educationally, but it was just lessons I learned from him. You know, when I first hung around him, you know, I was expecting to go out and, you know, play basketball or play football and all those type of things, but you know, we were at his house doing yard work, and, you know.
Wait, what is this program all about?
Yeah, like, wait a minute, man. What's this dude, you know, he's trying to get some free labor or something? I don't know what did he join the program for. My. But it was just life lessons that he was teaching me even then about, you know, putting in the hard work and developing real relationships. And so those are the type of things that I try to do now. You know, with you know, I created a program called Project 59 for
Yes,
Youth.
I want to talk about that.
And through that program, we were able to establish relationships, taking the model of Big Brothers, Big Sisters. You know, not just it being a moment, but it being a movement. Understanding that it takes relationships to really to develop our young people. And so that's really where this whole thing with, what I do as far as reaching back and giving back to the youth through education initiatives, it all started with my relationship with my big brother, Seymour.
Now, how old were you when you were first matched, Darrin?
I was 9.
9 years old.
I was 9.
And you're still in touch with Seymour today.
We attend the same church.
You attend the same church.
Yeah, we're still together.
Thank God.
We work together in ministry.
Wow.
And so
as men.
Yeah.
Helping men.
And I'll be 50 in April.
All right.
And we're still
got
together.
that baby face, brother.
So you talk about, man, some years together, and being a professional athlete, being in athletics for so many years, I've always had coaches, but Seymour is kind of like a life coach. My real life example, not seeing a father in my household, the role of a father, not seeing the role of a husband. A lot of what I learned is what I saw with his relationship with his wife and with his children. And that required me being there, being around him,
no doubt about
and
it.
actually seeing it in person. And so that's why, programs like Big Brother and Big Sister are so important to me, and why I love the relationship that we have, because it is about the one-on-one relationships,
Absolutely.
the mentoring. It's about really the consistency of being there, of having somebody to talk to, having somebody to lean on, and that's really what Project 59 is all about.
And let me tell you something. Let's talk about Project 59. And for the benefit of our audience, we're here in the studio today with my man, 2-time national champion with the University of Miami Hurricanes, 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Dallas Cowboys, and alumni little brother Darrin Smith, who not only had that impact in his life in terms of, Seymour, your big brother, but what you have now and what you're doing. So the significance of 59, let's start there first of all.
It started, man, Gale, this is over 20 years now.
I know, brother, go ahead.
We've been part of this. Throughout my high school career, throughout college career, and even the early part of my NFL career, I was always asked to come out and speak to children and to motivate them and to encourage them. And I love doing it.
Right.
And I remember people who came out and spoke to me when I was a child, the people who influenced me and encouraged me. And so I wanted to be able to give back that way. But I felt a little empty sometimes, because I would leave and really not know what happened to the children who I spoke with.
You talked to 100 kids.
Yeah,
what
I
happened?
spoke to 100 kids and don't know what impact it really had. And so I just wanted to do something that was more sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember back in 1998 is when it started. I was visiting Hawthorne Elementary in Seattle, Washington. I was playing for the Seattle Seahawks at that time. And a partner of mine, Jeff Buchanan, who's a co-founder with me with Project 59, we decided we needed to create something that goes beyond just me coming in for a moment and moving on. And so we decided to create Project 59, where we're actually able to have relationships, ongoing relationships with the children. And we did that through dictionary giveaways.
Okay.
We did it through a program called Race for Reading.
Yes.
Which eventually we did in New Orleans, and we did it in Columbus, Georgia. We did it in Atlanta, Georgia, and eventually we did it down here the first time with you guys back in the last Super Bowl 10 years ago that we celebrated.
Exactly right.
And so we were able to create that program, a reading program. It was an 8-week skill building program to help kids not only just have me come in and speak, but really get equipped, get the tools that they need, and also to encourage the parents to let them know how important it is that they read with their children,
right? And
that they help their children practice reading, and then it help them to become a habit. And so that is how we kind of got going. And when we came here in Miami and connected with Big Brother Big Sister, it was just like a dream come true.
Oh man,
as far as being able to be a part of a program that meant so much to me, and tie what we do with the bigs and the littles. And our program was great to be able to have the littles and the bigs come together and participate in Race for Reading.
That's right.
And so we were excited about that, and we've been excited, the 10 years that we've been together as partners, and we're continuing to try to develop partnerships to have even more impact with more of our young people, so that we can create this even stronger movement of readers in our country.
Well, let me drop this on you, Darrin, and we didn't talk about this pre-show, but we got a small library here in the building on the 3rd floor. And we're going to do something special during National Mentoring Month in January, where we have folks come in and, meet you and you can tell your story and all of that. But we might as well just go ahead and just commit right now to partnering for literacy, Project 59 and Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and we'll leverage some space here in the building. How about that, brother?
That sounds great.
Not to put you on the spot, but this is like worldwide.
That sounds great.
But it's full circle.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're very thankful. Thank you very much, Gale. This is
brother, that's the least we can do.
Something we've been trying to continue to do here in South Florida area.
That's right.
We partner in New Orleans when we had a big blowout. We partnered with New Orleans School Parish and Dillard University. Their students would actually go and teach our program to the schools, and so we were able to establish those connections in the city of New Orleans. Even though I'm not with the Saints anymore, those relationships have been established. Many of those young people, I remember, as we would visit, and we developed a computer lab there as well in New Orleans. And I remember many of the times I would talk with the young students with the schools that we were partnered with. And this was, the college students who would come back and teach the program. Many times this was their first time seeing college students that looked like them.
That's exactly right.
That college to them wasn't even a thought.
Wasn't even attainable.
Yeah,
for somebody else.
They didn't have anybody in their household that went to college. They were happy to finish high school. And so for them to see college students that looked like them, man, it changed. It changed everything for them. And I remember when we had the event and we held it just outside of New Orleans, and those kids really thought that they went out of town. They really thought that they really traveled far. It was just, and you start to realize how locked in that many of our young people are, and they don't really see the opportunities. They don't see the goals. They don't see outside of the little box that they're in. And I know one of the things that helped me to see that was education, reading. Even though I was pretty athletic growing up, I always, had a fear, honestly. I knew that for me to go to college, that was something I wanted to do. That was instilled in me because I had two older sisters and a brother that went to college. So that's something I wanted to do.
Right.
But I knew my mom didn't have the finances for me to go to college. So for me, football was the avenue.
That was your ticket.
That was it. I knew I'd had to have it. But I knew once I got that opportunity, when I went to college, okay, now I got it. It's all about academics.
What are you going to do with it?
That's right.
Game of life, where everybody makes a team, but how you play is up to you. Here with two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time national champion, alumni little brother Darrin Smith. Darrin, let's go back to UM. So you talk about the literacy, the seeing your siblings, in college. So you saw it as being attainable, not financially.
Correct.
But you had no lack of ability. And so once you got there, and I don't know if this is still the case, but I remember introducing you on various occasions at one time, and you can correct me if it's still the case. I know educationally it is, but you were the only NFL two-time Super Bowl champion who had a two-time Super Bowl champion, not just one,
correct,
but two. Now I'm sounding like LeBron, not one, not two, but and you also got your bachelor's and your master's degree from the university. Hear me clearly, our national audience. We're talking about not just an athlete. It's bigger than football.
Absolutely.
It's bigger than the sport. Yep. Here's a man who loves God, loves his family, and kids who look like you and me can see that football may be a ticket, but you got to focus on literacy, reading, what you're doing with Project 59, brother. So, again, are there any others? And I'm sure there may be, and hopefully there are, two-time, multiple Super Bowl winners that have advanced degrees as well?
Actually, I'm still the only one that has 2 degrees, 2 Super Bowl championships, and 2 national championships.
There you go. So you make it even harder for somebody to break your record.
So I'm known as Mr. Triple-Double.
Mr. Triple-Double. I like that.
Let me tell you what I did. What happened, Gale, to me that kind of topped it. Now I have twins also, so I'm quadruple trouble. Yeah.
See, brother, you're going to make it even harder to anybody that ever gets to twins. Quadruple double.
And the whole thing was really based on the fact that I looked at the numbers. The chances of making to the NFL were so minute.
Go ahead, brother.
And I realized that, and most people say, hey, you got to have a plan B. Well, really, my education was my plan A.
There you go.
It really was. I really a part of me really didn't think I was good enough to make it to the NFL, to tell you the truth. I just was happy that it allowed me to get an education.
Right.
And so I worked hard. I said, I got to get everything out of this education that I can. So I earned my undergrad degree in 3.5 years, and then I earned my master's degree in 1.5 years.
What was your undergrad in, Darrin?
Business management and organization.
Beautiful. What'd you get your master's in?
And I earned my master's specializing in marketing.
Beautiful.
I figured that if this football thing does work out, maybe I need to know kind of how to market myself.
No doubt about it.
You know, so
no doubt.
So it worked out. It worked out well for me. You know, in my senior year, 1993, I was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys in the 2nd round. So I was like, hey, maybe this football thing will work. But statistics also said that the average NFL player career lasts 3 years, and so I knew that even if I did make it, the chances of it being a long career was not very good. And so every offseason I would go back and learn more. I earned I got a real estate license, went on and earned my degree in real estate development as well. And so all of those things were about preparing myself for if football doesn't work. Now, fortunately, I was able to play 12 years, so I was blessed.
But you were prepared.
I was prepared.
Either way.
I was prepared, absolutely. And so it was always about education. You know, that was always the forefront of what I did, and it has definitely paid off now. Because, you know, things that I do now educationally, and I have the credibility now when I go to a school or when I go to an organization. We partner with many organizations, Delta Airline, AFLAG. There's many organizations that we go to and we talk to their employees about the importance of literacy, and we challenge them to read to their kids. And that's what we've done the last 10 years with the Million Book Read.
Love it.
And the Million Book Read is where we challenge people during Super Bowl week to pledge to read to your child during Super Bowl week.
There
and so
go.
we are trying to get 1 million people to agree to pledge to read a book to a child during Super Bowl week.
We're going to get every big in Miami.
That's it.
We've served over 65,000 children, including Darrin Smith, since 1958. And we have this alumni database. We're going to send it out, have everybody in partnership, Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami in partnership with Project 59, Darrin Smith, Jeff Buchanan, and really helping you along those lines. And we're going, whether they're reading here in the building, reading at home, everywhere, brothers. So it's game on for that.
That's right.
You can count on us for that support. So now the college coach you had ended up being your NFL coach as well with the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, so there you go again with these twos. I mean, so my goodness. So what are some of the values? And again, you obviously Jimmy Johnson, incredible coach. What were some of the things that, I mean, you've played for a lot of different coaches, and you can not only just limit it to Jimmy Johnson, but what were some of the things that Jimmy taught you?
Wow. Jimmy was a disciplinarian.
Yes.
He's very old school. He kind of coached by fear, actually. You know, he wanted his players to be kind of afraid of him.
At edge.
And absolutely. And it was whether you were Troy Aikman, whether you were Emmitt Smith, it was kind of a little bit of edge. Now, one of the things about him which was really interesting to me, I remember we had our first meeting and he said, listen, guys, you know, because most coaches say, hey, listen, I treat everybody the same, right? Jimmy said, hey, I don't treat everybody the same. I treat you all different. How do you expect me to treat a free agent lineman how I treat Troy? And so the thing about Jimmy that was what I appreciated most about him is, man, he was brutally honest. You know, I really appreciated his honesty. He let you know that he was, you know, hey, if you slip up, if you're on the bottom of that totem pole and things ain't going right,
you got a short leash.
Yeah, you might be.
It's a meritocracy. But Darrin, when you think about what Jimmy said to you all, say, I'm treating Troy Aikman one way, and here you come free agent lineman, you expect to be that same level.
It's not going to happen.
But in life, we have kids and even adults and employees who haven't earned their stripes yet.
Absolutely.
That are trying to get that. So brother, you know, it's like the fish who wants to be commended for swimming. No, you expected to do that.
Absolutely.
So you see how that's unusual today, unfortunately.
Right. And you know, the thing that showed me was, you know, like you say, in society, I'm going to have to push even harder.
That's right.
You know, I have to prepare even more. And one of the reasons why I've been able to last in the NFL for 12 years was my preparation.
There you go.
I wanted to outwork everybody. When I look at guys like Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin, man, I had the opportunity to play with these guys. All those guys in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
And I had the opportunity to sit and watch their preparation, and I was like, wow. I was blown away. What makes this? Nobody outworked those guys. Now, these guys are probably some of the most talented players. Deion Sanders is probably the best athlete, just pure athlete that I've been around. But his preparation, people see media, he jokes and plays and all of those type of things. But, man, when it's time for preparation,
locked in.
He gets ready. And he's just as smart. Those guys are just as smart as any football players I've ever been around, and they helped me to learn how to prepare, not only in football but in life. And so that's what I try to give back to our young people, really understanding that the key to preparation in life is education. That is what's going to unlock the door. That's what's going to give you opportunities. And so, and I have 2 young children, and I share with them all the time, hey, we got to work hard. We got to prepare. They get excited when they come home and they get an A on the test. And I tell them, what helped you do that? It was the preparation.
There you go.
You didn't just go in and just like hope that you can do it. You were prepared. You practiced. You studied and you learned. And so I try to just give the kids that same thing, to see that a kid that came out of Liberty City, I went to the NFL, but the priority was still the education. You know what I mean? So they can do it too. I'm not special. I didn't have a silver spoon. I didn't have a lot of advantages that they don't have, but it was a matter of putting in the work, and it can be done.
That's powerful, Darrin. As we think about the preparation needed, not only in the NFL but in life.
Yes.
And that's why I named the show The Game of Life.
That's good.
Because it's all about mentoring. And so from Jimmy, what other coaches influence you to be the man you are today? Because, we got to do a shout-out. We're here in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. You played for the Vikings of Miami-Norland Senior High, correct?
Yes. And you know what? I would say, man, I'm a Little League football coach.
Yes, sir.
I coach Little League. I've been coaching Little League football
coach my son
for 5 years.
Shout out to Brandon Joshua.
and again, that goes back to the people who have impacted my life. Coaches like Dennis Jackson.
Yes.
Coaches like Coach Smitty. Those like Dennis Jackson. Me and him are still connected, just like me and Seymour are. He was another person who impacted my life just in ways I can't explain. And that's why I hold on to them. I still call him Coach, even though he's a pastor of a local church here in Miami. To me, he's still Coach.
There you go.
And I really, I look to his family, his wife, his son. That was another opportunity for me to see how a father and a son relates, and how a husband and a wife relates. And, their love that they showed to them helps me to understand how to give my wife love and how to treat my children.
Yes.
And so, Coach Jackson, he was another life coach, not just football coach. And a lot of what I do even now on the football field, it stems from what I learned from him, the focus and the preparation and the motivation and, the things that he would do with us even as little kids. He would always encourage us, he would give us all nicknames that, it stands out, and it made us feel special.
That's exactly right.
It made us feel special. He would keep stats and always kind of beef up our stats. Even if we had 2 tackles, he had 4 tackles, and he did a great job. And those are the things that just motivated us and encouraged us to continue to do more. And I try to do that with my young players as well, and I hope that it impacts them the same way, and hopefully someday they'll be able to give back in that same capacity.
Well, then what you're talking about, Darrin, is it's mentoring, it's leadership, it's preparation for life.
Absolutely.
And you say you're trying to do that. I've seen you do it, brother. Not only with my own flesh and blood, having my son, my baby boy, Brandon Joshua Nelson, you coach your son, these other young men. I would sit and watch you in practice. And having a podcast like this and a conversation like this among brothers who are seeking to help the next generation by planting those seeds. And that includes, I've seen you, and without having to, and there's different styles of coaching.
Right.
You've seen it at the highest level.
Yeah.
But you have a way about you where you can push somebody, you can fuss at somebody, but you don't disrespect those children.
Right.
You recognize talent, you push them. Kids who might be struggling, you give them a nickname, you push them.
Right.
But if they feel like $1 million.
Absolutely.
So I commend you, brother, from the little brother to then seeing you as the coach And all these men who invested in you and these individuals over the years, you're giving it back 100-fold. And again, I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. Well, I honestly feel obligated. I feel obligated to be able to give back to what was given to me.
To whom much is given.
Amen.
Much is required.
I mean, it's my responsibility, and hopefully I'm giving it back in a way where they will continue to give back. They will remember something that Coach Darrin said to them that encouraged them, or that Mr. Darrin, when he came to visit our school, or when I was a part of his program, or maybe a dictionary that he gave me. I still do that with my kids. They ask me, what does that word mean? I always, hey, go look it up. And I remember even when I was young, my mom invested in some encyclopedias. And that was one thing I remember when I was young. And even then, looking in the encyclopedia, there was a picture of Ohio State and Michigan playing a football game, and I was like, man, that's what I want to do. And even an encyclopedia is something that motivated me as far as football. Seeing that picture, I was like, one day I want to be in that situation. And I remember even at Norland High School with Coach Lewis Allen, who was also a great coach, a great motivator. At that time when I was at Norland, the stadium that the Dolphins play in now was just being built. It wasn't even up yet. They had the concrete out on the outsides. And I remember me and some of my teammates, we walked to the stadium because you can walk through it. And we were out on the sand. It was just a bunch of dirt at the time. And we were all looking around, and we started dreaming like, man, one day I want to play in this stadium. One day I want to be here. And that dream came true for me. As a Cowboy, we came here and we played against the Miami Dolphins. And another dream came true. I was able to sack Dan Marino. I was like, wow, I can't believe this, because Dan Marino was playing. I think I was 14 when he started playing, and then to sack him. And then Gale, the most powerful moment that ever happened, when we got up, Dan Marino said, good job, Darrin. I was like, wow, he knows my name.
He saw you on that film.
Well, that's it. That's part of preparation. He knows who,
Watch 59.
Exactly.
That was your number, right?
That's it.
So Project 59, Watch 59.
That's where Project 59 came from.
Walk us through that play. I know you remember the play. You came on a blitz?
Oh, man, it was a blitz, man. It was a blitz.
Up the middle?
I came free. No, I came out on the edge. I'm an outside linebacker.
There you go.
But, the truth is, we had Tony Tolbert at defensive end and Charles Haley at defensive end.
Pretty good DNs.
Those are guys they need to be worried about, right? They're not worried about old Darrin, right?
Watch 59.
So let's sneak them on in there. The coaches called the blitz. I was licking my chops, and man, I was just fortunate. The timing worked out right, and it's great to be a part of a great team.
No doubt.
You know that, because it opened up some opportunities.
There's another life lesson. We don't do it alone.
Right. That's right. Can't do it alone. And so we all pieces. And I always, people ask me, man, you guys were great. In particular, they talk about, me and Mike Barrow and Jesse Armstead here as a linebacker group.
The Bermuda Triangle, right?
Bermuda Triangle,
Man, I tell you what.
Like, what made you guys so great? I was like, well, it didn't hurt to have Russell Maryland and Cortez Kennedy
that boy
Shane Curry up front of you.
Oh, my goodness.
Mark Caesar and all those guys, man. And, so it's all about teamwork and the team. And sometimes guys have to do the hard work, and everybody doesn't see it. Everybody doesn't see the hard work that you put in, Gale, as far as big brother and big sister. But, I've seen it for 10 years since I've been around you, and I've seen, your heart. I've seen you from directing the programs to now becoming the president. And so I've known your heart and known your passion for our young people, and that's why I've always stayed connected to big brother and big sister, because of what you guys have given me, and that legacy I want to give to others.
Yes, sir. It's a powerful partnership, Darrin. You're a powerful brother. But the beautiful part of it is you understand that it's the humility.
Amen.
And that it's not about us. It's about what we can be that light for other people. And so this podcast is part of a Super Bowl series that I'm doing. We had a guest on.
I got my logo on today.
You representing, brother. You representing. And so there's a Super Bowl breakfast that takes place on February 1st, talking about character, the Bart Starr Award. We had that in a previous podcast. Mm-hmm. When you walked on that Super Bowl field.
Wow.
So now, what were the locations for? Because it was the back-to-back Super Bowls, right?
No, actually, my first year I was on the back-to-back.
There you go.
So they won it the year before I got there in '92.
Okay.
And then the year I got there as a rookie. Now, Gale, that's like a dream come true, right? You come in as a rookie.
Oh, my goodness.
And you go to the Dallas Cowboys that just won the Super Bowl, and you're right back in it as a rookie, and you're starting. So I started as a rookie, so you're starting in the biggest game of the world, in your rookie year, and that one was in Atlanta.
Okay.
And so, you know, it was just incredible because you're there, and it seems like everything is focused on you guys. You know, all the media from all over the world, from Germany, Japan. I mean, from everywhere.
The world stage.
Are sitting there asking you questions. They want to know everything, and everybody gets a piece because everybody can't. Everybody can interview Troy and Mike and Emmett. So, I mean, they come to guys like us, too. They want to hear our point of view as well. And so, I mean, being on that stage, I mean, just the excitement and electricity and how it changes the whole city for that week. And, you know, we were playing against Buffalo again. And so, you know, they had some unfinished business because the previous Super Bowl didn't work out too good for them.
Right.
Actually, the previous, I guess, 3.
They had a few.
Right.
They had a few. Jim Kelly was a quarterback, right?
Yep, Jim Kelly was a quarterback. Thurman Thomas was a running back.
That's right.
And so Andre Reed was a great receiver that they had. Cornelius Bennett. And,
that's right.
You know, their defense was for real.
Yes.
You know, and so they had some great – hey, they were the AFC champs 4 years straight.
They were dominating.
That doesn't just happen.
That's right.
And unfortunately – you know, the NFC was pretty strong at that time. At that time, it was either Dallas or the 49ers.
That's right.
Who was coming out. So we were battling. And but we had a team. We had a team, Gale, and we had the coaches. When you look at that coaching tree, guys like Dave Wanstead and Wise and, you know, I mean, they're all over the league even now. You know, Jason Garrett at that time was a backup quarterback.
That's
now
exactly
he's the head coach.
Now he's head coach in the Cowboys.
Yeah, you know, so that's interesting. And
did you have Campo back then? Was Campo?
Campo was our defensive back coach.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Wanstead too, didn't you?
Wanstead was the defense coordinator and linebacker. Butch Davis was the defensive line coach. So
Avizano, I think you had.
Avizano, the best special team coach of all time.
Wow.
You know. So I mean, we had a Hubbard Alexander who was the wide receiver coach. So we had a coaching tree. Those guys went on to coach many years and are still coaching.
Yes.
And so I was around some greatness. And for that game, you know, once it started, we knew we were going to have it. Just being around the confidence. And then the second Super Bowl was actually in Arizona.
Okay.
And we missed a year because San Fran beat us.
Deion went over there, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, Deion was in San Fran.
That's right.
And we started the game out bad. We started out like 3 turnovers. We were in the hole 21-0. We ended up losing 38-20-something. So we gave them too much of a head start.
Right.
And but the next season we went back to the Super Bowl and we played against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's right.
And so that was out in Arizona. And so that was another electric game. And
that was that pick six.
Larry Brown. Yeah, Larry Brown had the pick. Everybody thought the quarterback had lost his mind throwing it out there, but you know that was a situation for Larry Brown where, you know, you talk about teamwork. He had to go that way because we had Deion.
That's right. So you're not going.
So
you're not
can't
going
go to that side,
that's
right? So Larry Brown he was in a great position. You know, like you said, the team that worked together, and that was a tough game. They actually, you know, played pretty strong, but we were able to come out and got that second Super Bowl ring. And so the 4 years I was there at Dallas, we were either in the Super Bowl or playing to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So it was about being around greatness. And one thing that I've said about those teams and what I've saw, and I mentioned it earlier about the work ethic. Our best players were our hardest workers.
That's a lesson I want people to take away from this podcast.
Our
today.
best players were our hardest workers.
Darrin, you've seen it, you do it, you recognize it. So hard work pays off.
Absolutely. And we were a player-driven team. You know, we had great coaches, but our leaders held us accountable. You know, when there were mistakes made on the field, there was nobody who made more noise about it than Troy Aikman. He was a perfectionist. He wanted it done right, and he would get into Michael Irvin grill too, or he'll talk to Emmett, you know, and he would let them know, you know, and he wasn't worried about being your friend on the field.
How about that?
You know, now he was great off the field and you be buddies, but when you're on that field,
it's time to work.
You know what Troy expects, you know, you know what Mike expects.
I love that.
And that was true leadership.
That's
and
right.
That's what was my opportunity of seeing true leadership from a player.
Yes.
And you know, that's something I've tried to emulate and take with me, you know, in my life. And you know what? I've been on teams that we didn't have that. And guess what? We weren't very successful.
I tell you what. And so there's a need for more leadership like that today.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be real nice when I look at the current NFL. And I know but I think there's just a need for more leadership. Some call it old school. We would call it old school, but I think it just speaks to earn your stripes.
Yeah.
Whether you're putting on a helmet or you're putting on a jacket, a construction hat, a helmet, if you will, but every aspect of life.
Yes.
Put in the work.
That's it. That's what it comes down to.
Darrin, I tell you what, brother, I could talk to you all day long. But one of the things I want to, in January of 2020, National Mentoring Month, we're going to do something special with Project 59 here at Big Brothers Big Sisters in Miami. A meet and greet with Darrin Smith. All our bigs and littles will be here. We're going to partner with Year Up as well. The founder of Year Up was a big brother.
Wow, that's awesome.
They're a national partner.
We're excited about our relationship with Year Up because they are giving young people the opportunity to through mentorship,
that's right,
through internships,
that's it,
through education. It's about equipping. Now they're able to equip other young people who may not have the same opportunities
that's right,
to go out there in the workforce and the work field. And so it's just a great, I think it's a great teamwork effort.
We got an alumni little brother.
That's right.
We got alumni big brother started Year Up. We have a
it.
national partnership with Year Up.
Yes.
And our littles who are in a workplace mentoring, high school students, including Miami Northern, by the way,
wow,
that are in our workplace mentoring program, once they graduate, quote unquote, from Big Brothers Big Sisters, graduate from high school, they go into our graduate program. We're going to roll them in Year Up.
Wow, that's awesome. And see, what we try to do at Project 59, we started in 3rd to 4th graders.
So you can get them ready.
That's right. So our job is to get them ready.
So Project 59 training camp and the combine, and then they come into Big Brothers Big Sisters. We suit them up.
Absolutely. Because you know what happened, Gale?
Wow.
Back in '98, I read a statistic that said that. Well, first of all, and we know this from Big Brother Big Sister stats. The United States incarceration rates are the highest.
Yes, they are
in the world.
Yes,
and they base their expected incarceration rates based on third grade reading levels.
That's yes, sir.
And when I saw that, I was like,
again,
that
brother.
is
We're talking building prisons based on illiteracy.
Absolutely.
Where we can build stadiums of success, not just limited to sport.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about we can build buildings where folks can work based on literacy.
Yes, it broke my heart. And then when I see the money that goes into our prison programs,
it's for profit all the way,
as opposed into our educational system.
Yes, sir.
It was heartbreaking, and so that's why I said to myself, hey, we got to create some kind of movement. We got to create some we have to create awareness of this situation. Give kids the equipment that they need, the tools that they need.
Yes.
And so we wanted to start young, and then Big Brother and Big Sister, you offer that mentorship and that development and that relationship.
Yes,
and
sir.
Year Up can also offer the skills training, and so I think it's a perfect partnership. And that's why I'm looking forward to 2020 of us continuing to build and grow and be even more impactful in the community.
And this is the first of many podcasts with Darrin, just so you know. See,
okay, sounds great.
This is, you're a natural, Darrin, natural on the mic, and brother, I appreciate you. I respect you. One of the most important things is just keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank
so
you, Gale.
Stay tuned for more Game of Life, the Super Bowl series. Not only with Darrin Smith, with so many others that are just doing things to help our kids succeed in the game of life. Have a great holiday, brother.
Thank you, my brother, and the same to you.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in to the Game of Life. I got one word to describe Darrin Smith and how I feel about him, and it's just about respect. Let's go. Hey, this is Gale Nelson, President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami, the host of the Game of Life.